Hello, everyone. This is Mrs. Kringle. Today I'm going to talk to you about some more databases that you can use for research. We have talked a lot in previous videos about general interest databases, meaning they cover a wide variety of topics. Today I want to look at some specialized databases. These are databases that cover only specialized topics, so they may focus on a topic like health or education or history exclusively. Instead of being a database that covers many topics, these databases only cover those specific topics. So I want to show you where you can find those specialized databases and which ones are best for which sorts of topics. So to get to our South Dakota State Library databases, we need to go to the Riggs Library page. And to do that, we're going to start off by going to the Pierre School District homepage, which is pierre.k12.sd.us. Once you put your mouse over the word schools, you'll see the 5 schools in our district. Go down to TF Riggs High School. There's a pop-up menu that will show up, and you'll see TF Riggs Library there. We're going to go, I already have the page open, so I'm just going to open the tab right there. Once you're on the TF Riggs Library homepage, we're going to go to this tab right here that says Riggs Research Resources. Just a reminder that our databases are over here under the heading South Dakota State Library Databases. That's because the South Dakota State Library pays for the citizens of South Dakota to be able to use them. They pay about $1 million a year. As long as your device is within the boundary of the state of South Dakota, you can use these databases, no problem. If you plan to travel outside of South Dakota, say you're going to go visit family in Iowa, but you still want to use the databases to do your research, just come see me before you leave, and I'll be happy to give you the barcode and password so that you can continue to use these databases, even if you're outside of South Dakota. Just remember, because these are paid for databases, you cannot go to Google and type in SIRS Issues Researcher or Master ProQuest or Masterfile Premier and expect to be able to use them. These databases have to be entered into through the Riggs Library page or the South Dakota State Library page. We're just going to use the Riggs Library page here. Like I said, we've been looking at general interest databases, but now I want to look at some subject-specific ones. If you are planning to do a topic on an author or a book, I highly recommend this database called Books and Authors. This is a Gale database, and we looked at Gale before when we looked at Gale Virtual Reference Library, which was a collection of reference books. This database is all about books and authors, and it's really neat. If you're looking for a good book to read, you can see over here they have the different categories of fiction. So I like historical fiction. You can see you're looking for children's and young adult, and you can take off adult if you want to. And here are some book titles that you can then go in and look at if you want to. So it's really an awesome way to build a reading list if you're looking for some books, or if you have a specific book you're looking for, you can do a title search up here. I happen to really love the book The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. And I come across hers as I start typing, again, because this is a database, it's trying to be helpful, it's offering me suggestions. I'm going to click on that. Here is S.E. Hinton's The Outsiders, so I can read about that if I want to. Or if I want to learn more about S.E. Hinton, you can see that her name right here is a hyperlink. If I click on her name, it takes me into some information about her herself. Her name is actually Susan Eloise Hinton, but when she published her novel, they were afraid a woman's name would make it less desirable to read, especially by male teen readers. So they asked her to masculinize her name. So she took her initials rather than using her full name, so she became known as S.E. Hinton. But if we look down here, here's some sidelights or some information about how she wrote that story. She was actually 14 years old when she started writing it. She was a sophomore in high school. She finished it her junior year, and then on the eve of her graduation, it was published from high school. Eve of her graduation from high school, they published it. So really, and it's an awesome story, and this has a lot of insider information about the book and how it came to be, and about S.E. Hinton herself. So if you were going to do a study of, let's say, young adult literature, you wanted to talk about the development of that, you should certainly include The Outsiders. It's considered one of the classics of young adult literature. This is a great place, this Gale Books and Authors database, to come and get some more information. Because it's a Gale database, your function keys are up here in the upper right-hand corner. You have your cite function, your send to. Remember, we can send to Google Drive or to our email. You can download it as a PDF, or you can print it and get a hyperlink to come back and visit later. Really awesome information. So I highly recommend that if you're going to do a book or an author, thinking about something in the literature field for your research project. If you're thinking about the education field, ERIC is a database. It's a government clearinghouse for government information on education. So if I wanted to do something on school libraries and test scores and the correlation between the two, I could do a search for those keywords. I come up with 229 results, but I have not limited to full text. So if I want to go and see only articles I can read right now, I put a check mark next to full text and I can hit search. And that limits my results to 104. If you'll notice over here on the left-hand side, I can further narrow it, okay? If I want to, I can narrow it by a descriptor. That means by another keyword, okay? If I want to narrow it by date, I can do that as well. Let's say I just want to look at the last 10 years. What have they published on this topic? I can do that, and now I'm looking at 27 reports that have been published in the last 10 years on this topic. If I click on here, it says, is the library important? Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay. Here is a description of the article. It tells you who your authors are right underneath the title, where this article appeared in the Journal of Language and Literacy Education. Okay. Then there's a summary or description of it. Over here, because this is full text, I can download the full text and read it right now as if I had this article or magazine in front of me. The only drawback, I can print it. You can see the print function just came up. I can download it. The only drawback to ERIC is it does not cite your source. So you would need to create your citation for this resource if you end up using it. And you'll need to refer to your language arts teacher for instruction on how to create that citation. That is an awesome resource if you're going to do education topic. If you're going to do a medical topic, if we scroll down here, there's one that says Medline Plus. Medline Plus is a government clearinghouse for medical information. This is a website. So this is one you could go to Google and type in Medline Plus and have it come up. But when you search this website, you are only searching the information contained within it. And this website is only filled with highly reliable government information on medical or medical associations, information on different diseases. So if I did COVID-19, did a search on that, I come up with, and they're giving me links right here to some of the latest information, but I get 4,905. And so you can see where these informations are coming from. This is coming from the National Library of Medicine. This is the Centers for Disease Control, the Nemours Foundation, which is a highly reliable medical foundation. More Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Here's the Department of Health and Human Services. So there's a lot of great information. These are all links to websites or web articles on COVID-19. And you can read through them. These are links here, more links. So the only bad thing, just like with Aaron and Eric, it's not cited. You would have to create the citation for any resource that you use off of here. But again, awesome information, especially if you're looking for background information on a disease, or you want to know more something about a physical disease or a mental health issue. You can find all of that on here in Medline Plus. If you're going to do a history topic, there are several databases that are specialized databases that specialize in history. One of them that I want to take a look at specializes in all sorts of topics in history, and that's called Reader's Guide Retrospective. Excuse me. So we're going to scroll down till we find Reader's Guide Retrospective, 1890 to 1982. This is an EBSCOhost database, so it'll look familiar to you. It will look like the ebooks on EBSCOhost that we looked at in another video. It also looks like Academic Search Premier or Masterfile Search Premier. So it's very similar in functionality. But when we're searching Reader's Guide, what we are searching is articles written about historical topics from 1890 to 1982. That's all that we're going to go. So if your history topic is after 1982, you won't find it in this database. But let's say I want to do some research on the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to do a search, and I retrieved 21 articles. Okay, and these are from when his assassination occurred. Okay, so we can call these primary sources because they are written by someone who's living through the experience at the time when it occurred. We are going to link it to full text. That means I only want to retrieve articles I can read right now, and now I've limited it to 9. Now, if I go back and take the full text feature off, that just means that I can't have some of those articles right now, but I can get them for you. So if you find one that you like, let me know. Give me a lead time of about 2 weeks, and I can track down that article for you. But these ones that I have limited to are full text, so I can take a look through them and see what it's all about. So let's look at this one right here. The Martyrdom of Martin Luther King Jr. It's from 1968 and appeared in Ebony magazine in 1968. If you'll notice over here on the left-hand side, you'll see a link to the PDF full text. If I click on that, here is the actual article as it appeared in Ebony magazine in 1968. So you can see someone has scanned this article in for you, and you can go ahead and read it. And this would be considered, like I said, a primary source material. Pretty incredible information for you to read on the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So a great resource there for you. If you want to print this article, you need to be in the PDF section here. When you are in the actual article, you'll see a print button. If you click print here, it will actually print the article. If you use this print button over here, all that's going to print for you is the citation and the detailed record. So if you want the actual article and you're in a PDF, you have to click the PDF print function. Over here is where you find your function keys. Okay, you can email this article to yourself. You can add it to a folder. You can cite it. You'll remember we use MLA, so you would have to scroll down until you find the MLA citation, and then you can copy and paste that into your bibliography. So this is an awesome resource for you if you're looking for primary source materials for a historical event that occurred from 1890 to 1982. Again, if you choose to go back, I'll go back to my results list, and I will unlink full text. Now, if I find one that I like that is not full text, okay, I can go ahead and grab the citation. So like this article is not full text. I can grab this citation, I can print it out, can hand it to me, Mrs. Kringle in the library, and say, hey, Mrs. Kringle, can you get me this article? I'd like to read it. And I can certainly reach out to the state library and get a hold of that for you. Just remember, it can take anywhere up to 2 to 3 weeks to do that. So make sure you plan ahead of time. Okay. Very important. That's an awesome resource for you if you're looking for some of those early original newspaper articles about topics of history that happened from 1890 to 1982. Another resource I want to show you for history is if you are planning to do a topic on Native American tribes or people or events that involve Native American peoples. This database here called Indigenous Peoples is another Gale database brought to you in conjunction with the Smithsonian's National Museum of the American Indian. It has some amazing primary source materials on different topics. So let's say I wanted to do the occupation of Wounded Knee, 1973. I start typing it, and you'll see it comes right up for me. I can click on that and hit search. When it does its search through all of its resources, it finds me 12 manuscripts and if on the topic, and it finds me 30 newspapers and periodicals. If I just want to look at those newspapers and periodicals, I can click on that and I come to a list of articles that appeared about this topic at the time that it was happening. Again, these would all be primary source materials because they're written by people who are living through it. Okay, so if I look at this article, Dick Wilson, who are these people and who is paying them, and I click on that, what I come to is a editorial written by Dick Wilson. This is Dick Wilson's perspective on the situation at Pine Ridge, as excerpted from a letter to the editor of the New York Times written on July 7th. So this is from late summer 1975. I can read his opinion of what is happening here. Important to note that if you want to move an article around, all you need to do is click on the article and you can move it with your mouse and keypad. Okay, and some of the articles you won't be able to see the full article. You'll have to move it around on the page. But again, because it's a Gale database, up here on the right-hand side, there's your cite function, your send to. Again, you can send to Google, to your email, your download, your print, and you get your link. So just resources are amazing. You'll see here on this topic, you have 12 manuscripts. Those are things like letters that they have, photographs, any of those types of resources, that's where you would find them there. Reports that have been filed. Here's something that says criminal justice. So let's take a look at that, what that is. This comes from Princeton Library's collection, their collection, the Association of American Indian Affairs, General and Tribal Files. So here, this looks like statistics on American Indian topics related in that time period. Okay. Questions regarding American Indian criminality from that time period. It's hard for me to tell what year this was. If I look here, it's just giving me a range of dates, 1968 to 1982. Perhaps if I read through this article, I can find out more. Again, if I need to go to the next page, I can go to the next page. I can move my article around on the page with my mouse and my keypad. So just something to keep in mind. Okay. This is a great resource if you're looking for primary source materials on Indigenous peoples topics. So highly recommend that if you're thinking about doing a topic on that. You want some primary source materials or materials from that time period. Very much like Reader's Guide retrospective. If you're planning to do a South Dakota history topic, I want to remind you about the great resource we have in town here, called the South Dakota State Archives. The archives is the resource or the building where they collect information on South Dakota and South Dakota topics. There is the archives here, and if you put your mouse over the word archives up here, you can go to About the Archives. And you can search it right here. So I can do a search on the Rapid City flood. And do a search. Comes up with 94 results. Some of these are online documents. Some of them are in-person documents that you would have to go up to the archives to look at. And you can go up there. Any citizen can go up there to use the archives. But like I said, some of them are digital. This is a resource here on the flood of 1972. Has photos, a reminiscence from somebody who was there at the time. 10th anniversary program from 1982. They must have had a memorial program. And so they have a guide there to what that program was about. Just some really interesting resources there for you to take a look at. And I highly recommend that you do take a look at some of that. Okay. There's his transcript from Don Barnett, who is somebody who witnessed that event. So I always, like I said, you're welcome to go up to the archives. They're open 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So you just need to go up there and make an appointment. They have librarians that work up there. They can help you if you choose to do a South Dakota history topic. They're a great resource. And we're so lucky because they're here in town. So we can just head up there and get that. So these are some, and you can see there are other databases on here, but these are some of the specialized databases. I want to remind you, if you're planning to do a history topic, in addition to all those awesome databases that we just looked at, don't forget that we have some great physical books here in the library. Same thing with health. We have a lot of great health books and health resources in our library. So make sure we take a look at our card catalog. So go to this tab here with me. It says Library Catalog and Overdrive. You'll see a search box here. This is where we can start searching our card catalog. So example, I said there's a lot of health stuff. If we want to do a topic on vaccines, I type in vaccines and then click search keywords here. That pops open our card catalog. You'll see that we have 8 topics or 8 books on vaccines in the library. The first thing we need to do is look over here and make sure that the book is available. If it says 1 of 1 available, that means it's on the shelf. If it says 0 of 1 available, like this particular resource here, which it looks like a photograph of Dr. Jonas Salk, it says 0 of 1, that either means checked out or lost. Okay. So as I look through here, I see one that says the vaccination debate. I click on the title. It says examines the controversies and debates regarding vaccinations, discussing mandatory vaccination, autism, outbreaks of old diseases, and other related topics. Well, it's on my shelf. In order to find it, I need to have this call number written down. And when I come back to the library after being home, I need to have this call number so that we can find it. We need to make sure it's on the shelf, and then we need the call number. The call number just tells me where something is shelved. And if it starts with a number in the call number, that means it's nonfiction or real. If you'll notice that a couple of the results here have a call number that starts with FIC, like this one right here, the second time around, this call number starts FIC. That is a fiction material, which would not be helpful to you for research. So make sure that if you find one that you like, that the call number starts with a number so that you know it's nonfiction or real and will be helpful to you. Okay, so just a reminder, especially if you're going to do medicine or if you're going to do history, actually if you're going to do really any topic, be sure to check out the card catalog and some of these physical books that we have in our collection, because there are some awesome, amazing nonfiction resources that you can use in your paper. Okay. These are some of the specialized databases that I wanted to share with you. If you have any questions, please come see me in the Riggs Library. Thank you and have an awesome day.